And being digested is sort of like, somebody eats a meal, a tiger eats a deer or something, or you eat some meal, and then that food is gone. It's not there anymore, and it's part of the DNA of the person who's eaten it. And the person who's eaten it becomes stronger and becomes more powerful as a result of eating that food, but the food doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't have its own separate identity and its separate existence. Now this metaphor works for civilizations, which is what I'm doing in this book. Civilizations have been digested and made to disappear. You see all these pre-Christian so-called pagans used to be a thriving large civilization across Europe, and Christianity digested them. So a lot of things entered Christianity from the pagans, like the Christmas tree and Easter and many festivals and symbols. But the pagans themselves disappeared. You find them in some museums. Also Native Americans, they got digested. Many good things were taken from them, and they exist in museums or reservations. A lot of good things were taken from Africans, Egyptians, and nowadays Tibetan culture is being digested into Chinese civilization. So the question is, is the Indian civilization, the Dharmic civilization, being digested and made part of Western civilization, like yoga, like meditation, like all kinds of things are being digested. And after the good things are digested, the tiger throws out, excretes what it doesn't need from the deer. So whatever it doesn't belong, it removes it. So are we heading in that direction gradually? And if so, what are the implications? And what do we do about it? So many of our people are very enthusiastic. They think that it's a sign of victory that I'm being accepted by, white Christian culture. That I'm being accepted by them, so I must be good now, because previously they rejected me. So we are considering our value based on what somebody else thinks of us, rather than having our own sense of value. So if my worthiness in my own eyes, my self-esteem depends on somebody else and their attitude towards me, then I'm already a prisoner. I'm already a prisoner. And they can ignore me and I'll feel bad. They can respect me or recognize me and I will love it. So my mood will go up and down based on what somebody else is thinking. So we have that kind of a complex. That's an inferiority complex that a lot of our people have. And the result of inferiority complex is that there's a tendency to want to get digested. There's a tendency to want to get digested. Now, one would say, what is wrong if others take our good things? And there's nothing wrong at all. Digestion is different than simply borrowing. If I borrow something from you, I borrow your music, I'm not depriving you, I'm not distorting it, I'm not in any way separating it from you. You can also have it. And I respect it as yours, I acknowledge it is yours, and I'm borrowing it. That's borrowing, that's cross-cultural borrowing. But digestion means that something is separated and removed from its origin. It's no longer part of the source civilization. History is rewritten to give a different idea of where it came from. So the original source tradition, over a period of some generations, the people begin to not even know that this came from there. For instance, a lot of mathematics came from India, and the Arabs translated these texts, and then it entered Europe. But Indians don't know that. So that is an example of something that it is not just a simple matter of Europeans borrowing it, but Indians themselves losing track of that memory. A lot of yoga is becoming Christian yoga and is being re-exported to India. A lot of Christian yoga centers starting in India. A lot of Christian Bharatnatyam starting in India. Story of Jesus and Mary and all that, danced in the Indian way, wearing Indian costumes, Indian music. So it is not just simply borrowing, but the one who is borrowing is so powerful, has so much money, can spread so many academies of dance and so many academies of yoga, hire so many teachers, that their digested version, their westernized version becomes universal. So even Indians learn about their own heritage through the echo of the West. What the West teaches them is what they learn. So this is how there was this Aryan theory created that Indians accepted. A group of Germans started this, and my other book, Breaking India, explains this in very great detail, the history of how it happened. Created an Aryan identity, created a Dravidian identity in the 1800s. Before that, people in India didn't have that kind of a sense of that kind of dualistic identity, separatist identity. And it became so powerful and it became so digested by Western thought as part of history, as part of their history. Then because of their power, because of the English language, because of their control over education and media and jobs, they exported this idea of the Aryan-Dravidian divide to Indians, and Indians accepted it as truth. So the problem came when Indians even lost their own itihas, their own sources, their own authority. And today, a lot of the digestion is in the form of translating some Sanskrit words into English where they have a different meaning. If you take a word which captures a very unique meaning in Sanskrit, that meaning is not found in another language, like Shakti. There is nothing like Shakti in the Western thought, so they have no word for it. Like Atma in the Indian thought is not the same as soul in the Western thought. As I was explaining earlier, soul don't exist in animals, soul don't exist in plants, soul doesn't have reincarnation. It's a different concept than Atma. So if you replace the word Atma with soul, actually it's a distortion. So if you take several such ideas we have, several such philosophical concepts we have, words we have, and substitute them, digest them into the West and replace them with Western equivalents, it is a distortion. So the original entity has been eaten up as food and made to disappear, and the Western universalism, which is the one that has absorbed all this and eaten it up, has become stronger. And this is the issue that I'm addressing in this book. I'm addressing this issue of Western universalism is only one kind of universalism. Chinese claim to have their own universalism. Their Confucian thought is their idea of universalism. There is Islamic universalism, where the Islamic thought claims to have universal truth. So there are many alternative claims of universalism, and even in the West there are alternative claims. There is the Judeo-Christian religious idea of universalism, and then the Enlightened movement, secularism, they have their own idea of universalism, and so on. So there are many competing views, and each one claims to be universally true. But why Western universalism is particularly important is because they got the power through the language, through the colonization, through money, through institutions that they have set up, through opportunities that they can offer. So their idea of universalism has got more market share, if you will, than somebody else's idea of universalism. So my primary focus is to see how our civilization differs, what is different about it from Western universalism, what should we not allow to get digested, that we should keep separate. What is it? What are the distinct qualities based on which we should create our identity? We can share a lot of things are common, but certain things we should keep distinct to ourselves, because this is what makes us separate, and we can ask others to borrow them, but they should acknowledge it. And how it is to be interpreted should be in our hands, not in somebody else's hands. They are not the gurus who are going to teach us yoga. We have to understand it ourselves. They are not the people who are going to teach us Bharatnatyam. They are not the people who are going to teach us what is meaning of Shakti or what is our philosophy. So when we lose control over our own knowledge systems, then instead of being the experts, instead of having the adhikar, instead of having the authority, we become dependent on someone else to teach us even about ourselves. And this is a tragedy that has happened quite a lot. We used to be an exporter of knowledge. We had the greatest universities in Takshashila, which is now in Pakistan, and Nalanda, which is in Bihar, and 20, 30 other major universities. They were like the Ivy Leagues of that time. And the brightest students were sent from around the world to come and study there. And this went on for thousands of years. And we were not importing know-how and importing knowledge, technology, R&D. We were exporting. We were knowledge exporters. in so many areas, philosophy, science, metallurgy, city building, medicine, linguistics, music, all kinds of things. The knowledge system from India was exported everywhere in the world, mathematics, astronomy. And today, we are like beggars going around trying to get knowledge from the West and bring it back. So, how is it that people who were world-class exporters become the biggest importers? And now, previously the pride was that everybody uses my knowledge, I am exporting, they come to me for knowledge. Now we are very proud that we also got Starbucks, Big headline, we are very good, we got Starbucks, headline. And we got such and such brand now. We are good. They must think we are important. They've started this franchise here like that. So the terms of reference in which we are defining our success are not our own terms of reference. Somebody else's terms of reference we want to mimic. We want to be like others. And so we have, in a sense, sold out a sense of who we are as distinct people.